Okay, recording now. This is lesson 5.2, comparing and ordering mixed numbers and improper fractions. Before watching the recording, please make sure that you have the 5.2 worksheet in front of you, which looks like this. It should be 5.2, so you can cross out 4.2 and write 5.2. Be sure to grab perhaps a couple of highlighters, as well as a pencil and a graph sheet of paper, which you'll need later on. So if you need to pause the recording to grab those items, please do so now. First thing that I want to mention to you is looking at the number lines, you should see some things in common. You should notice that each number line starts off with a 0 on the far left-hand side, and then it goes to 2 on the far right-hand side, and all the number lines are lined up neatly underneath each other. The only difference being that each number line is broken up into different denominators according to the fractions that they represent. You should also notice too that each number line is actually written in terms of the mixed numbers. So when you're working with questions that require you to compare and order mixed numbers and improper fractions, if you're given an improper fraction, you'll have to convert it to the mixed number to find it on the number line. So we're going to work with two examples of how to use the number line to compare and order fractions and improper fractions and mixed numbers. So at the bottom of your page, could you please copy down what I have written here? So for question number 1, write down 1 2/8, 7/6, and 6/4. And then underneath, write down, order this from greatest to least. And again, if you need to pause the recording, do so now. Also take a highlighter and make sure you highlight each of these improper fractions or mixed numbers in the same color of highlighter. It does not have to be yellow, but they should be the same color of highlighter. Okay, so once you've done that, then you're going to look and see if you can locate each mixed number or improper fraction on the number line. Now, to make things a bit easier, I'm going to convert 7/6 and 6/4 into the equivalent mixed numbers because, as I mentioned before, these number lines are all written as mixed numbers, so it's just easier to deal with in terms of the same format. So if I look at 7/6, I'm just going to write this down up over here. 7/6 in brackets. So I want you to try and do the conversion as you did last time in the last lesson. So you're thinking about 7 divided by 6, approximately how many wholes do we have? We have 1. And then we know that our denominator is the same of 6. You go 6 times 1, which is 6, and then plus 1, which is which is 1. So 7/6 is equivalent to 1 1/6. The other one we want to convert is 6/4. 6/4, 6 divided by 4, approximately how many times? We know that it's once, and then we know the remaining is going to be over 4. So again, 1 times 4 is 4, plus 2, which will give us 6. So the equivalent is 1 2/4. Now, not all of the mixed numbers are written in here, but you can figure out which ones need a label, okay? Or which ones are associated with the improper fractions or mixed numbers you need to find. So we're going to look for, going back to our original list, we're going to look for 1 2/8. So I'm going to take my highlighter, and I'm going to make sure it's the same color here. So I'm going to highlight, and I can see 1 2/8 is located here. Okay, so I've taken care of that one. So I'm just going to mark that off in red there. I'm going to look for 7/6. I know 7/6, I've just worked out, is equivalent to 1 1/6. So I'm going to go back to my highlighter. I'm looking for 1 1/6. I know it's probably going to be between 1 and 1 2/6. I'm just going to write this down just so I know this is 1 1/6. And I'm going to take my highlighter. I'm going to highlight that. Okay, so I've taken care of that. And you can go ahead and do the same if you understand what you're doing. The last one is 6/4. 6/4 we've worked out to be 1 2/4. So I'm going to find that. 1 2/4 is up here. It's already marked. And so I've taken care of that. Okay. So It is now easy to see which one is the greatest and which one is the least fraction. So the greatest mixed number will be the one that's closest to 2. So I know 1 2/4 is the greatest fraction because it's closest to 2 on the number line. If I look at 1 1/6, it's the one that's actually closer to the left, which means it's closer to 0. So this is the least. And then 1 2/8 is in the middle. So when I order the fractions, if I'm ordering this from greatest to least, so jot this down, you're going to say 6/4 is greater because it's the greatest, because we always go back to the original form it was reported in. So 6/4 is the greatest. Then we have 1 2/8, and then we have the last one would be 7/6, which was 1 1/6. Okay. All right. So question number 2, having to do with the number line again. I'm going to write down 1 9/10, 21/12, and 15/8. Okay. Again, 1 9/10, 20/12, 21/12, and 15/8. Okay. I encourage you, pause the recording, go through the same steps as we did with number 1, and check your answers when you're done to see if you're on the right track. Again, same thing. Please order these improper fractions and mixed numbers from greatest to least. Okay, I'm going to continue. So I'm going to take the mixed numbers, the improper fractions, and I'm going to convert them. Actually, it's easier if I do it below, right? So 21/12, I know is going to be equivalent to 1 9/12. And then I know 15/8 will be equivalent to 1 7/8, just so it's easier for me to see on the number line. I'm going to choose a different color of highlighter, so I'm going to use purple here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to locate is 1 9/10, which is here. I'm just going to write this in. 1 9/10 is here. Okay, so I've done that. Too many things here. Okay, so 21/12, which is 1 9/12. 1 9/12, which would be up here. And then 15/8, which is 1 7/8. 1 7/8. I'm going to write that in just so that I know where it is. And there we go. 1 7/8. Okay, so I've taken care of all of those. Again, you can easily see from here which one is the greatest. Again, which one is closest to 2? So you kind of have to look really carefully here. It looks like 1 9/10 is the biggest, and then it's 1 7/8, and then it's 1 9/12. But again, we go back to the original way it was reported. So when we reorder this from greatest to least, we know we've got the biggest is 1 9/10 is bigger than 1 7/8, so 15/8, right? And then we know the least is going to be 21/12 or 1 9/12. Okay, so that's your answer there. So that's how you use a number line to order these from greatest to least. Okay, I'm going to stop here. So for the next recording, please make sure you have a graph sheet of paper, and we'll continue with ordering improper fractions and mixed numbers, but next video will be on putting them over a common denominator. Again, this is one example of how to use the number line.